going to be stopping me. I totally created a monster with this one. We're going to have like Queen in every chorus rehearsal.
Fun, off key, but fun.
Great.
When I heard it back, I'm like, oh my God. But fun.
All right, folks, if you would like to mute yourselves.
Okay.
I'm sharing the prayer book. We are live on YouTube, so welcome to anybody who is joining us on YouTube. We are a mighty minion this morning on Zoom. So, so we begin. I don't know how many of you have a paper prayer book, but if you do have one, we're on page 412. If you only have a Shabbat prayer book, it won't have this service because it's a festival service. But if you have the whole prayer book or the weekdays and festivals one, then it's in there. So page 412. Now is the time to move out of the narrow space. The eye is the starting place, never the arrival. The journey outward begins now.
Modani lefanecha, Modani lefanecha, Modani lefanecha, Melech chai v'kayam, shehechezakta V'nishmati b'chemla rava emunaticha shechezata b'nishmati b'chemla rava emunaticha modani Modani lefanecha, Modani lefanecha, Melech chai v'kayam.
We are grateful. Why am I echoing? We are grateful before you, ever living and enduring Creator, who has given us back our souls with great compassion and who believes in us. So page 416 for anybody who is wearing a talit today. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehitatef batzitzit. I don't know how many of you saw, I did put a picture on Facebook, but I made my own version of the Israelites crossing the sea. And it's Playmobil figures and scarves that are, green and blue and silver to make the ocean or the sea. And I was just thinking, like, what a great sea my talit would make, except for it's my talit, so I need it for that. I can't use it to be the sea. So we turn our attention to our physical space, and we say, how good is this space where I am that is hopefully a sanctuary for our own selves, and also a sanctuary that becomes a holy place as well. Ma tovu.
Ma tovu, ma tovu, alecha Yaakov, mishkenotecha Yisrael. Vani berov chastecha, avovitecha, eshtacha vehecha kodshecha, b'yiratecha. Ma tovu, ma tovu, ohalecha Yaakov, mishkenotecha Yisrael. Adonai ahavti me'on betecha umekom mishkan kevadecha vani eshtachave ve'echra evrecha lifnei Adonai osi. Vani tefilati lecha Adonai et ratzon Elohim berov chastecha Elohim berov chastecha Aneni be'emet yishecha. Ma tovu, ma tovu, olecha Yaakov, mishkenotecha Yisrael.
We continue with our bodies and our gratitude that our bodies are working in some capacity today. So I invite you to read with me. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who formed the human body with skill, creating the body's many pathways and openings. It is well known before your throne of glory that if one of them be wrongly opened or closed, it would be impossible to endure and stand before you. Blessed are you, Adonai, who heals all flesh, working wondrously. Baruch atah Adonai, rofeh chol basar umafli la'asot.
Elohai neshama shenatata b'tehorahi. Elohai neshama shenatata b'tehorahi. Elohai neshama shenatata b'tehorahi. Elohai neshama shenatata b'tehorahi. Elohai neshama shenatata b'tehorahi.
We are on page 429 if you have a prayer book, and I invite you to read with me. I am a Jew because the faith of Israel demands no abdication of my mind. I am a Jew because the faith of Israel requires all the devotion of my heart. I am a Jew because in every place where suffering weeps, the Jew weeps. I am a Jew because at every time when despair cries out, the Jew hopes. I am a Jew because the word of Israel is the oldest and the newest. I am a Jew because Israel's promise is the universal promise. I am a Jew because for Israel the world is not completed. We are completing it. I am a Jew because for Israel humanity is not created. We are creating it. I am a Jew because Israel places humanity and its unity above the nations and above Israel itself. I am a Jew because above humanity image of the divine unity, Israel places the unity which is divine. We come to Hallelujah, praise of God, with the words of Psalm 150, page 45.
Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Hallelujah, El Bekodsho, hallelujah, Birki Hauzo, hallelujah, Bigevrotav, hallelujah. Kerov Gula, hallelujah, 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 Betekat Shofar, hallelujah, Beneva Vechinor, hallelujah, Betofu Machol, hallelujah, Beminim ve'ogav, hallelujah, 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 betzirtzele shama, hallelujah, betzirtzele trua, Kol hanshama tehaleya, kol hanshama tehaleya, hallelujah, 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 hallelujah.
Kol hanshama tehalel. Let everything that breathes praise God. We turn to the Baruch Hu, and I invite you to rise if you're able on page 452.
Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed.
I invite you to read with me on page 455. The world is sunlight, restoring the soul, rejoicing the heart, bringing light to the eyes, more welcomed than gold, a Torah from heaven. I have no light to give the morning. My Torah, my special human gift, is words. As I bring my words forth from silence, welcome them, you who redeems sun from darkness. Baruch atah Adonai Yotzer HaMeorot. And today in Brooklyn, a spectacularly gray and rainy day, the sunlight is metaphorical, but also real, because we know, and this, for some reason, this always amazes me, that once you go above the clouds, it's always a sunny day. If you're above the clouds, like whenever I fly anywhere and the weather's bad when we take off, we get above the clouds and there's the sun. It's still there. So it's one of those strange things that is obvious and yet always surprises me and fascinates me. How deeply you have loved us, Adonai, our God, gracing us with surpassing compassion. On account of our forebears, whose trust led you to teach them the laws of life, be gracious to us, teaching us as well. O merciful one, have mercy on us by making us able to understand and discern, to heed, learn, and teach, and lovingly to observe, perform, and fulfill all that is in your Torah. Enlighten our eyes with your Torah. Focus our minds on your mitzvot. Unite our hearts in love and reverence for your name. Then we will never feel shame, never deserve rebuke, and never stumble. Having trusted in your great and awesome holiness, we shall celebrate your salvation with joy. Gather us in peace from the four corners of the earth and lead us upright to our land. For you, O God, work wonders. You chose us. Truly, you drew us near to your great name, that we might acknowledge you, declaring you one in love. Praise be you, Adonai, who chooses your people Israel in love. Baruch atah Adonai, habocher be'amo Yisrael be'ahava. We continue with the Shema. Noni, you're muted.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Avad.
Let's be still.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם להיות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובישעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתיכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
Page 464. For us, this eternal teaching is true and enduring, beloved and precious, awesome, good, and beautiful. The God of the universe is truly our sovereign, the rock of Jacob, our protecting shield. God endures through all generations. God's name persists. God's throne is firm. God's sovereignty and faithfulness last forever. God's words live and endure, faithful and precious for eternity. Please read with me. From Egypt you redeemed us, freeing us from bondage. For that your beloved sang praise, exalting you. Your dear ones offered hymns, songs, praise, blessing, and thanksgiving to you as sovereign, the living and enduring God, high and exalted, great and awesome. God ever humbles the proud, raises the lowly, frees the imprisoned, redeems the afflicted, helps the oppressed, answering our people when we cry out. Praise to God Most High. Blessed is God and deserving of blessing. In great joy, Moses, Miriam, and Israel responded with song to you, all of them proclaiming,
מי כמוך בעלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש נורא תהילות, אוסף אלי נורא תהילות, אוסף אלי שירה חדשה שבחוגי עולים,
The tefillah for festivals begins on page 468, and I invite you, if you're able, to rise.
Adonai sefatai tiftach, ufi agiti hilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elohe avotinu v'imotenu, Elohe Avraham, Elohe Yitzchak, v'Elohe Yaakov, Elohe Sarah, Elohe Rivka, Elohe Rachel, v'Elohe Leah, El Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, Elion, Gomel Chasadim Tovim v'Konei Hakol, v'Zocher Chasdei Avot v'Imahot, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר, מושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע, מוריד הטל. מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים. סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומדום מלך מלך ממית, ומחיי ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי הכל.
Your might, O God, renews the earth. With dewdrops of light and blessing, let the earth be illumined and blessed. With dewdrops of joy and delight, let the earth rejoice and sing out. With dewdrops of life and well-being, let the earth be revived and improved. With dewdrops of redemption, let the earth be redeemed. Livracha velo liklala, lechayim velo lemavet, lesova velo lerazon. Page 476.
נקדש את שמך בעולם, כשם שמקדישים אותו בשמי מרום, ככתוב על יד נביאך, וקרא זה אל זה ואמר, קדוש 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 אדוני צבאות, מלוך על הארץ כבודו. אדיר אדירנו אדוני אדוננו, מאדיר שמך בכל הארץ. ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו. אחד הוא אלוהינו, הוא אבינו מלכנו, הוא מושיענו והוא ישמיענו, ברחמיו לעיני כל חי. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, ימלוך אדוני לעולם, אלוהי ציון לדור ודור. הללויה. לדוד נגיד גודלך, ולנצח נצחים קדושתך נקדיש. בשבחך אלוהינו, מפינו לא ימוש לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
Let's be seated. You have chosen us in love and favor by making us holy through your mitzvot and drawing us close to your service. that through us your great and holy name may become known in all the earth. In your love, Adonai, our God, you have given us feasts of gladness and seasons of joy. This festival of Pesach, season of our freedom, to unite in worship and recall the exodus from Egypt. Our God and God of our ancestors, be mindful of your people Israel and recall our merit for good and grace and in loving kindness and compassion for life and peace on this festival of Pesach. Zochrenu Adonai Eloheinu bo letova. Amen. Ufogdenu vo livracha. Amen. Vehoshienu vo lechaim. Amen. This day remember us for well-being. Amen. This day bless us with your nearness. Amen. This day help us to a fuller life. Amen. Please read with me. Bestow upon us the blessing of your holy festivals, and may we so celebrate them as to be worthy of your blessing. Our God and God of our ancestors, make us holy with your mitzvot, and let your Torah be our way of life. May our rest on this day be pleasing in your sight. Satisfy us with your goodness, gladden us with your salvation, and purify our hearts to serve you in truth. Let your holy festivals remain our heritage, and let us celebrate them with joy, so that all Israel, hallowing your name, may have cause to rejoice. We praise you, Adonai, who sanctifies Shabbat, the house of Israel, and the festivals. Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh Yisrael v'hazmanim. We are on page 484.
Ritzei, Ritzei Adonai Eloheinu be'amacha Yisrael u'tefilatam be'ahava tekabel u'tehil ratzon tamid avodat Yisrael ותהי לרצון תמיד עבודת ישראל עמך, אל קרוב לך קוראיו, פני אל עבדיך וחוננו, שפוך רוחך עלינו, ותחזינה עינינו בשובך לציון ברחמים. ותחזינה עינינו בשובך לציון ברחמים. Oh Lord, my God, hear my prayers. Help me to know that you are close to me, and help me feel you here. Baruch atah Adonai hamachzir shechinato letzion.
We have come to our prayer of gratitude, and we are a small number today. So I generally encourage you to put into the chat what it is that you're grateful for. But today, I think that we can just unmute and share. So if you have something that you're grateful for today, please unmute yourself and share it.
Can we unmute it?
Yes.
Yes, I am grateful for the Beshert, for our Rabbi Hoover, for the congregation, for having this service on this festival morning to celebrate Pesach with. I'm just so filled with joy to be part of the congregation. Thank you. Modim anachnu lach.
Modima nachnu lach. We thank you. Karen, go ahead.
I was just going to say pretty much the same thing. I'm grateful for temple services, which have kept me pretty sane throughout the pandemic. So thank you for that.
Modima nachnu lach. Freema.
I'm grateful that Larry is here with me, and we had a very good Seder with our friends. Here's Larry, my son. In case anybody, this is my son, Larry. And just that we were able to pull off a Seder yesterday, and just yes, also for the services and yes, that Bishop does a lot on the computer. We've been on the computer a lot, but it keeps us grounded, keeps us together, and I'm very grateful for that. You want to say anything? Okay. Thank you, everybody. And nice seeing all these faces.
Modim anachnu lach. Teddy?
And I'm grateful that I did invite my daughter's childhood friend with her little kids to the Seder last night, because that was really fun and different. And introducing some kids to something they hadn't been to was nice too. It was great.
That's great. Mary Lou?
I pretty much ditto what Gail said. I'm so grateful to be with all of you on the other coast. And the long distance makes it, this keeps us together and shortens the distance. I'm very grateful to be shared and to be part of all of you and be with you. And thank you very much, Rabbi Hoover.
Thank you. Modima nachnu lach. Robert Rothman says he's grateful for Beshert, and before that for Beth Emeth. And Laura says that she's very grateful for our congregation and our rabbi. It's so great to be together virtually during these times, and she's looking forward to our Seder tonight. So I thank all of you. Your words are very meaningful to me as well, and help me to keep going also in these times. And I am so grateful for the technology that has allowed us to do this. I can't imagine what this year would have been like without this technology. And I'm so grateful that so many of you bravely, and I think it did take courage, bravely stepped into the world of technology and, grabbed hold of it and made it work. And I'm very impressed by it, and I'm very grateful that you persisted and didn't give up. So modim anachnu lach for all of those things. Oh, Noni, do you have something else?
I'm also just so grateful that I've been allowed to be part of this congregation for so many years, and it's my family, and it's just so important to me to be here.
Yeah, you're a very important piece of this congregation, and we're very glad that you're here too. And we continue now with our prayer for peace. Sim shalom.
Sim shalom tova uvracha. Sim shalom tova uvracha. Chen v'chesed v'rachamim. Sim shalom tova uvracha. Sim shalom tova uvracha. Chen v'chesed v'rachamim. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael amecha. Sim shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael amecha. ברכנו אבינו כולנו כאחד באור פניך, כי באור פניך נתת לנו, אדוני אלוהינו, תורת חיים ואהבת חסד, ואהבת חסד, וצדקה וברכה ורחמים וחיים ושלום. וטוב בעיניך לברך את עמך ישראל, בכל עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. שים שלום טוב וברכה, שים שלום טוב וברכה, חן וחסד ורחמים, שים שלום טוב וברכה, שים שלום טוב וברכה, חן וחסד ורחמים.
And now we continue quietly. If you have a prayer book, there are words on pages 492 and 493. If you can see the words on the screen, those words are there. But of course, we can always use the words that are in our own hearts. So we continue quietly.
יהיו לרצון אמרי פי, והגיון ליבי לפניך, אדוני צורי, אדוני צורי, וגואלי, וגואלי.
May the words of our mouths and the meditations in our hearts be acceptable in your sight, O God, our strength and our Redeemer. Amen. We continue on this joyful holiday with psalms of praise. Hallel. Hallel, you can find on page 558.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu אשר קידשנו במצוותיו וציוונו לקרוא את ההלל. Hallelujah, et Adonai kol goyim, shabechuhu kol haomim, ki gavar aleinu chasto, ve'emet Adonai leolam. Hallelujah, hallelujah, et Adonai kol goyim, shabechuhu kol haomim, ki gavar aleinu chasto, ve'emet Adonai leolam. יאמרו בית אהרון כי לעולם חסדו יאמרו יראי אדוני כי לעולם חסדו.
We're turning now to our Torah for today. Observe the month of Aviv and offer a Passover sacrifice to Adonai your God. For it was in the month of Aviv at night that Adonai your God freed you from Egypt. For 7 days thereafter you shall eat unleavened bread, bread of distress, for you departed from the land of Egypt hurriedly, so that you may remember the day of your departure from the land of Egypt as long as you live. I invite you to rise for Adonai, Adonai, if you're able.
Adonai, Adonai, el rachum v'chanon, erech apayim, v'rav chesed v'emet, notze chesed la'alafim, nose avon v'afisha, v'chata
Adonai, Adonai, a God compassionate and gracious, slow to anger, abounding in kindness and faithfulness, extending kindness to the 1,000th generation, forgiving iniquity, transgression, and sin, and granting pardon. Let's be seated. The Torah reading for today is from the book of Exodus, from the Passover story. It's from Parshat Bo, actually, and it starts in chapter 12 of the book of Exodus, beginning with verse 21. ויקרא משה לכל זקני ישראל ויאמר עליהם משכו וקחו לכם צאן למשפחותיכם ושחטו הפסח ולקחתם אגודת אזוב וטבלתם בדם אשר בסף והגעתם אל המשקוף ואל שתי המזוזות מן הדם אשר בסף ואתם לא תצאו איש מפתח ביתו עד בוקר ועבד אדוני לנגוף את מצרים וראה את הדם על המשקוף ועל שתי המזוזות ופסח אדוני על הפתח ולא ייתן המשחית לבוא אל בתיכם לנגוף ושמרתם את הדבר הזה לחוק לך ולבניך עד עולם והיה כי תבואו אל הארץ אשר ייתן אדוני לכם כאשר דיבר, ושמרתם את העבודה הזאת, והיה כי אמרו עליכם בניכם, מה העבודה הזאת לכם? ואמרתם זבח פסח הוא לאדוני, אשר פסח אל בתי בני ישראל במצרים, ונוגפו את מצרים ואת בתינו הציל, ויקוד העם וישתחוו, וילכו ויעשו בני ישראל כאשר ציווה אדוני את משה ואהרון, כן עשו. Oh, I meant to stop the share and I forgot to do it, but that's okay. Okay, so I'm going to actually read more in English than what I read in Hebrew. So like that. So beginning with verse 21 of chapter 12, Moses then summoned all the elders of Israel and said to them, "Go, pick out the lambs for your families and slaughter the Passover offering. Take a bunch of hyssop, dip it in the blood that is in the basin, and apply some of the blood that is in the basin to the lintel and the 2 doorposts. None of you shall go outside the door of your house until morning. For Adonai, when going through to smite the Egyptians, will see the blood on the lintel and the 2 doorposts, and Adonai will pass over the door and not let the destroyer enter and smite your home. You shall observe this as an institution for all time, for you and your descendants. And when you enter the land that Adonai will give you, as promised, you shall observe this rite. And when your children ask you, 'What do you mean by this rite?' you shall say, 'It is the Passover sacrifice to Adonai, who passed over the houses of the Israelites in Egypt when smiting the Egyptians, but saved our houses.' The people then bowed low in homage, and the Israelites went and did so, just as Adonai had commanded Moses and Aaron, so they did." Actually, I am going to stop there, and that is what I read in the Hebrew. And the passage continues on, and the Israelites indeed, gather everything together super fast. Like after the death of the firstborn, Pharaoh is like, "Get out." And so the Israelites very quickly pack everything up and grab the dough out of the kneading bowls, even though it hasn't risen yet, and off they go. And I was thinking about this, and I was thinking that this first Passover sacrifice and this sort of hasty escape is like where we were last year at this time. Last year at this time, we were scrambling. We were trying to figure out what the rules were for how we would be safe. We were trying to figure out what we could do with technology to help us to be together. We were trying to figure out how to sustain a community that can't see each other face to face. And it was a scramble. And we got it done. And then I think about, when the Israelites do get away, and we're going to celebrate crossing the sea next Saturday on the 7th day of Passover. And then off they go into the wilderness, into this different world, different life that has a lot of problems, that is really hard. Um, and I think about, what happened at their first anniversary of that crazy escape from Egypt. And I wonder if they felt actually the way I'm feeling right now, which is sad. Just sad that, here we still are online. For me, Passover is the hardest holiday to do online because for me, Passover, the whole point is being with people. It's not the whole point. The whole point is telling the story, and we can do that online, but sharing food and singing together and being together, like that's what Passover is about for me. And so I am feeling really pretty intense sadness about the fact that we are still here this year. And I feel like it helps me to key into something that the Israelites might have felt also in the wilderness. I feel like we're often very hard on the Israelites who are complaining and bitching and moaning all the time. And, um, like why can't they be happy? God's taking care of them. They're alive. They're free from slavery. Why can't they just be grateful? Why are they complaining? And yet, here I am in my home, my wonderful, beautiful home that I love. I'm able to see all of you on Zoom. I'm healthy. You're healthy, and I'm complaining. And I'm ungrateful because I'm a person, and I have to wonder, like, is this life now? And I don't think it is. I think it is going to change again. I think that things are going to be different. We're getting vaccinated. Something is going to happen. Something is going to change. We're hoping and praying we'll be able to be together in person for the high holidays this year. But meanwhile, so it can be hard sometimes to celebrate. And so I wanted to share that. Like, I'm okay. I'm fine. You don't have to worry about me or anything. But I thought if I'm feeling this way, maybe some of you are feeling this way too. And so I wanted to share that, especially because, we read this story year after year. And what I'm getting out of it this year is that there's a lot of loss in this story. There's a lot of, heading into the unknown. And we've talked about this over the course of the last year, about how we too are heading into the unknown. And we always are heading into the unknown, but it's not always such a life transformation. Like, who would have thought that we would shut down our whole society and then do it imperfectly enough that it has to stay that way for a year? Other places did it better and were done with this faster. So I don't know how uplifting I'm being today, but I did want to share that. And I want to share that even with all of the hardship and the scrambling, and then followed by the long slog through the wilderness, there is always, along with all of it, there is always hope. There is always hope. And in a few weeks, we're going to, this summer, on July 3rd, we're going to get to the story of the daughters of Tzlofechad. And the daughters of Tzlofechad, come to Moses. Like, we're jumping way ahead into the book of Numbers, but they come to Moses and they say, our father died and doesn't have any sons, and we want to inherit. We want to, we want his land to go to us. Well, what land are they talking about? They're talking about land in the land of Israel, in the promised land, where they aren't. They're still in the wilderness when they're coming to Moses with their case. And so our rabbis look at this and they say, look at these women. Look at the faith that they have. Look at the hope that they have. that they believe that we are going to get to the promised land, because otherwise they wouldn't care about inheriting their father's land that he didn't even have yet. So so that hope it's always there. And so my message for us today is that may we celebrate as much as we can. May we enjoy this holiday and each other in any way that we can. And may we continue to hope. May we never, ever lose our hope, even if it gets a little shaky sometimes. But let's hold on to our hope that things are going to get better, and we will have taken something important from this experience. I mean, we turn our thoughts now to those among us and those in our hearts who are ill and who are in need of healing of body, of mind, or of spirit. I'm going to go ahead and include all of us in that, whatever healing our spirits or our bodies might need. Let's include all of us in the Misha Berach today. But we also will specifically include people for whom we are praying for healing. So if you have, if you want to put names in the chat, please do put names in the chat. But also, again, we are a small but mighty group, and you can add your names out loud. It's fine. Here are the names I have of people that we're holding in our thoughts and in our hearts for healing today. Jesse Sakharov, Ira Weiss, Elaine Drucker, Allison Plummer, Patty Ann Cubero, Ellen Belofsky, Meg Goldate, Mady Rosenbaum, Rabbi Dara Lerner, Susan Sisler, Alan Fremer, Susan Bilecki, Dana Haitkin Nelson, Arlene Rosenthal, Michael Luck, Barbara Weiner, Andy Glantzman, Amy Juskowitz Soonseller, Ira and Deanna Roth, Roz Bornstein, Dolores Weinberger, Ingrid Grosso, Roberta Gotthelf, Audrey Cohen, Fran Sisler, Jesse Ryback, Eddie DeAngelis, Richard Cherry, Ira Goldman, Vicky Lightmaker, Sarah Brooks Kamen, Nettie Trommer, Mia Gannon, Richie Stein, Jeff Abel, Harold Gleiberman, Suzanne Lechnos, Florence Schoen, Jules Feldman, Esther Bat-Lucy, Roz Zuckerman, Paul Kastic, Les Schenker, Katie Schenker, Dr. Jack Ignatinsky, Roberta Hayrath, Marilyn Birnbaum, Robin and Neil Parr, Roz Solomon, Joan Lifshitz, Stacy, David and Wilma Mauser, Hannah Paynes, Christina Lechnos, Ellen Hoyt, Margot Zitton, Stuart Armstrong, Della Cohen, Maxine Breland, Iris Merlis, Regina Stein, Monica Adius, Steph Adius, Michelle Nusimovici, Kimberly Davy and Braden Finnegan, Claire Cyber, Ariana Winower Stein, Marlene Unterberger, Freya Kashmir, Delphine Wolf, Rita and Perry Kravitz, Jeannie Greenberg, Florence Greenberg, Bill McShane, Jacques Cohen, Linda Kushner Silverman, Herb Meyer, and Bonnie Josephs. Who else has names they would like to add? Freema, I know you do. Unmute, Freema.
Okay. Okay. Kimberly Pearson, Alan Molnick, Lucy Palazzola, Mila Senkin, Carol Beanstock, Martin Bennett, Reba and David Cohen, and Phyllis O'Neill. Thank you. Thank you.
Amy Bona Cohen.
Mike Kripken.
Mary Lou.
Zizi Potsdam, Brenda Katroser, Eve Heyman, Estelle Altort, Maddie Rosenberg, my husband, Ron Cricky, my niece, Laura Cricky, and my aunt, Susan Vi. Thank you.
A lot of people.
Karen?
Elliot Wolfsey and Suzanne Mishla Hernandez.
Jean?
Cynthia Wilson, Ann Conjesta, and Jean Broccolari. Oh, I can't get rid of this lemon light.
Anybody else?
Yes.
Go ahead, please. Oh, you muted yourself again. Unmute, Linda.
I did.
I know, but then you keep muting yourself again.
Okay,
Click.
am I done?
There you go. Yes.
Okay. All right. Tara and Jackson Kushner, Silly Shamit, David Gershon, Stanley and Lavana Tenin, Ronnie Katlowitz. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Patricia.
Yes, there's and her dad Perry de la Touche and Anna Marie and her sister O'Sullivan and who else? I'm to remember the names that I usually write. I didn't get to send them in, but anyway, I'll write the rest of them in the chat.
Anybody else? Okay. I also want to include Logan. What's Logan's last name?
Clark.
Logan Clark. We also include all of those who are suffering from COVID-19 or from the steps we've taken to try to slow the spread of the virus. We include those who have been wounded in service to our country or Israel, and those who have been hurt in recent disasters, including the shootings in Atlanta and Boulder, and any other disasters, whether natural or human created. If you have a prayer book, the Misha Berach is on page 511.
Yisheberach Avotenu Mekor habracha leimotenu. May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Misheberach imotenu Mekor habracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
We turn to the Elenu, page 586 is where it begins. I invite you, if you're able, to rise.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, latet גדולה ליוצא בראשית, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסד ארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינת עוזו בגבהי מרומים, הוא אלוהינו ינוד. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני
Let's be seated. We turn our thoughts now to those who are no longer with us, our loved ones who have died in the past days or weeks or months or in past years at this time of the year. Let me see if I have I don't have the yahrzeit list open right now. So let me, so the yahrzeit list that we had from Shabbat is the list for all of the yahrzeits this week. So it's the same yahrzeit list that I'm just opening. Okay. So let me share the yahrzeit list with you. If you have other names to add, you'll have an opportunity to do that out loud, or you can put them in the chat. We remember those who have died in the past year. Lloyd Ricketts, Ellie Heimlich, Sherry Burns, Terry Singer, Henry Kuhn, Lily Zimmett, Bob Perlman, Ira Berkowitz, Bayumi Mohammed, Amy Zisovic, Mary Holland, Dorothy Webster, Robert Allen Santos Sr., Robert Bonenfant, Barry Strumpf, Judy Epstein, Dorothy Mason, Judy Panzer, Barry Ween, Charlotte Brown, David Schachter, Douglas Maines, Devorah Lewis, Tria Sapir, Jane Evans, Rabbi Lord Jonathan Sachs, Manny Pastor, Ruth Rubin, Harris Reese, Emerson Berger, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, Caroline McNamara, Marion McGivney, Ronnie Turek, Michaela Schaefer, Helen Zegerman Schwimmer, Ido Sheffi, Elaine Gordet, Dr. Stephen Kamholtz, Carol Gross, Carol Andre, Robert Serpico, Jeanette Riley, Melvin Barish, William Lamp, Ina Sandals, Martin Schenken, Solomon Teitelbaum, Howard Jenkelowitz, Sean Singer, Jeff Harris, Sammy Berger, Rabbi Kenneth Roseman, Chaim Braunzweig, Harry Baylor, Benjamin W. Schaefer, Shirley Hyatt Tobias, Myron Klein, Ted Tobias, Rita Belay, Jay Jankelowitz, Sandy Gannon Abel, Yafet Koto, the 7 women and 1 man who were shot and murdered in the spas in Atlanta, Georgia, and those who were murdered in the grocery store shooting in Boulder, Colorado. Also Beverly Cleary, who died this week at the age of 104, and Larry McMurtry, a novelist who wrote Lonesome Dove. On our yahrzeit list are included Sandy Gannon Abel, Fran and Sam Silverman's friend. It's her first yahrzeit. Jacob Drucker, Elliot Drucker's father. Henrietta Gluckman, Sheldon Greenberg's mother-in-law. Mark Koser, Roz Baylor's brother-in-law. Millie Sharkey, Deborah Sharkey's mother. Erwin Silverberg, Yvette Pomerantz's uncle. Aaron Silverman, Sam Silverman's uncle. Leon Tigler, David Olosov's uncle. And Luby Wax, Milton Platt's sister. What other names would you like to include?
Ruthie Bierman.
Go ahead, Freeman.
Ellie Heinrich and Jack Mandel. Thank you.
Karen?
Inga Probetsky, Kevin McCarthy, and Leah Trislanga.
Dorothy Samet.
My father, Cedric Schuster.
Jane, go ahead.
Arthur Roski. Thank you.
Anybody else? We include all of those around the world who have died from COVID-19 and also those who have died from other causes, whether in war or famine or terror or disaster, or alone and homeless on the streets of our cities. If you have a prayer book, the Mourner's Kaddish is on page 598. I invite you, if you're able, to rise and join in or to participate according to your own custom. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei rabah, v'alma divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon u'v'yomechon u'v'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala u'v'zman kariv v'yamru amen. Yehei shemei rabah mevorach leolam u'lalmei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yit hadar, v'yit alev, v'yit halal, shemei dekudesha barichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tush bechata v'nechemata, dam yaran ba'alma v'yimru amen. Yehe shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'yimru amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn and comfort to the bereaved wherever they may be. And let us say amen.
Amen.
Let's be seated.
Oseh shalom bimromav, Oyaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael.
A few announcements before we finish our service. Tonight at 6:30 p.m., we will gather for our community Passover second night Seder. So I think I said in the email, grab your wine or grape juice and your matzah and your Seder plate and zoom on in. So the Zoom link was in the links email that I sent out. I think that's where, no, that's not right. I sent it out late Friday night in its own email. I sent the link and there was also a link to the Haggadah. I'm hoping not to display the Haggadah on the screen like the same as we did at Purim. So if you can have it available to you on a device, juggle your devices and you know what I'm saying, or print it out. I see Mary Lou has printed it. And then we'll do the thing. So it'll be great. That's at 6:30. At 2:30, before that, Shoshana Hoover is going to be leading a cook along, and it's going to be about how to make matzah crack, also called matzah brittle, but it's called matzah crack because you can't stop eating it because it's marvelous. I hope it's going to go okay. I find that it's sometimes hard to make the caramel part when it's humid outside. Like the butter and the sugar don't combine properly. So I hope it goes well. She'll handle it, whatever happens. And then what you'll end up with is matzah with a coating of caramel and a coating of chocolate. And then at the Seder, you can play a game that we learned from the Grouper family, Harry and Phoebe Grouper, where you take a small piece of it and you put it on your forehead, chocolate side down, and then you have to use the muscles of your face to get it down to your mouth. And so everybody ends up with like streaks of chocolate on their face, and it's hilarious at the end of the Seder. So come cook along with Shoshi, and then you can do that. Mary Lou?
Was that 2 or 2:30? I thought it was 2.
Oh,
It is 2:30 or 2.
Well, now
I'll have to look at the email.
Doubting my own memory.
I'm sorry.
No, because if I'm wrong, like we definitely need to know. So let me check Facebook.
Because that chocolate will be dripping down your face at the wrong time.
Well, that's kind of later. But okay, let's see. Meanwhile, Thursday night there's another Seder. This is the women of Beshert, a sisterhood organization. So they are, oh, that's not what I wanted to do. I wanted to be here. What is happening? Why is this so hard to see? Okay. That's the community Seder. Oh, it is. It's 2 o'clock. It's 2 o'clock. Mary Lou, thank you. It's at 2 o'clock. It's not at 2:30. It's at 2 o'clock. Come at 2 o'clock to learn to make the matzah crack. So to get the Zoom link for that, you have to email outreach@beshert.org. And then our outreach person, Emma Tattenbaum-Fine, will send you the Zoom link. Okay, so Thursday is the Women of Beshert 7th night Seder, but it is on the 6th night because the 7th night is Shabbat. And so it's, I guess, the Women of Beshert 6th night Seder. It's normally a dessert Seder. It's a women's Seder. We're going to honor women. And the Zoom link for that has not gone out yet. That's going to go out this week. Next Saturday morning will be our 7th day festival morning service with Yizkor. Because it's Saturday, we're going to have services at 11, the regular time, and we're going to have B'yachad beforehand at 9:45. Friday night, as usual, we will have poetry text study at 7, followed by services at 8. And so that's all I'm going to tell you right now, because that's enough. And check your email for more stuff. Noni, you want to?
God of Might. Are you putting that up on?
Unfortunately, I don't have it, so I can't put it up. So
I'll just sing it then, and
sing along as best you can.
Or just hum.
Probably a familiar one. It's on page. What page is it on? 666. So for those who have a prayer book, it's on page 666.
God of might, God of right, we give all glory, thine all praise in these days as in ages hoary. When we hear year by year freedom's wondrous story, be with all who enthrall, for their tasks are driven by thy power, feed they are when their chains are riven. Earth around will resound joyful hymns to heaven.
I will try to have that for next week. Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha, Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'yichuneka, Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha Shalom. May God bless you and keep you. May God's face shine on you and be gracious to you. May God lift God's face towards you and give you peace. Amen.
Amen.